Happy Monday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. We are now in prime major season. I said that for the last week or so, but today it's more true than it ever was before. The major kicks off. The best of one start at 12 o'clock my time, 1 o'clock for most of Europe and various other times. In any case, in an hour and a half, so we have a good window here to get some more major conversations done. We're going to talk about the opening round matchups where we see the upsets, stage one dream teams and fantasy teams, pick'ems maybe, MVPs of stage one as well, an interesting conversation. We're going to play games about the whole majors. We're going to talk about some smaller lands that have happened. There's a lot to get through. There's a lot to discuss, despite the fact that we spent the last week without a big sort of event with the top teams playing. We still have a lot to discuss. Before we even address the man on my there, we're going to thank the members. I couldn't remember which way it was. Like, it's left. If I point left, it looks right on my screen. I don't know which side I count as pointing when I do this. Whatever. He's over there. We've got to thank the members, though. Members get access to bonus content, but they also support the channel, and that's what's really important for me. Helps me to keep doing this, helps me to keep the lights on. There's at least 3 of them on whenever I'm doing an episode, so we desperately need that electricity. And yeah, they get access to the King's Court, behind the scenes, the full VODs for all live streams. The ones you guys don't typically see if you're not a member. There's a lot of different things that come with being a member, but also, most importantly, just it's a great way to support the show and allow me to put it up on various audio platforms, because that shit ain't free for some reason. I'm really frustrated about that. I found out I had to pay just to put crap on Spotify. But all right, Quack. Excited? Big week this week. The major starts.
The major starts. It's the time to bring back the Buchholz calculators and the pick'em. All of the pick'ems. Yeah, this is it's an exciting time of the year, and we get 2 of those every year. And I'm excited. This is gonna be a really, really, really fun major, I think.
Yeah, people are always like, "If there was a wonderful time of the year, it's Christmas." I'm like, it's the major, bro. Like, what are you talking about? No.
Yeah.
That song's not about Christmas. Come on, let's be real. It's about the major, and we love it. And we're going to start with some speculation, some predictions, some general just open discussion of the first stage and what we reckon is going to actually go down, because we've all done our pick'ems. We've done some, double swing talks. We've had to pick teams and make cases for them. But Quack, let's just be realistic. No silly games involved. There's no goofy sort of limitations on what you can and can't pick. How do you see stage one going? Let's start with just an MVP. If you had to pick the player who's going to be the best player of this event, I don't mean it also has to go through. Technically, they could, go out 2-3 and be your MVP. You could go out 0-3 and somehow have played the best CS we're ever going to watch. Who do you think's your number one player to watch for stage one?
I think it play. All right, yeah. I think if I'm picking the best performer outright, I'm gravitating towards maybe somebody on a legacy, maybe like a Dumao or a Lato. Okay. I'm maybe thinking somebody like a Wrinkle, maybe, on NIP if they can make it through. I'm very 50-50 on NIP, but I put them through in my pick'em. But I think outright MVP, all things considered, I'd probably have to say James. To be honest, James is the guy I'm sort of predicting to be the MVP, because I think he's gonna put in a solid performance for Paravision. They're obviously tipped for a lot of people to go through, and to perform well. And I think all things considered, as a caller, as an opper, as the person who brought together this team, as the person with the only major experience and maybe the most major experience on his team. The most and the only.
Yeah, it's not a very long list of major attendees on that team, is it?
No, yeah, but I think Paravision will need him to a degree if they're gonna make it through, and I think they are gonna make it through. So I think James would be my prediction outright.
James would be. Okay, I think James is a great pick, especially when you extend the context of what MVP is as well, because not only is he going to have to be one of the best AWPers in the stage, he's been one of the better AWPers in tier 2, tier 3 for a long time, basically since stepping down into this tier of competition. He's been putting up good to great numbers, but also he's going to have to do more than any other AWPer in this stage is going to have to. So he's going to be the AWP IGL. I get it, 9 is the AWP IGL on the Huns too, but he doesn't enter the event with the same pressures on his shoulders. Like, James has to not only call a good game, frag out pretty substantially. Like, he's the hard closer on a team that plays a lot of like, group up and blitz and heavy trade out sort of Counter-Strike, where they're going to need some, composed players in the late round to really recover things. But he's just going to have to just be the leader of this team. Like, he's going to have to be the player to corral the players, keep their chins up. Like, I've said it in my sort of pick'ems videos. Like, I see Paravision having the ceiling of 3-0, but having a floor of like 1-3 or 2-3 just because they have so much inexperience. And I get it. James and Dastan have done miracles with young players. James has been a young player himself and outperformed expectations at a major. But it is one of the most tough things to do, the most difficult things to do, and in terms of value, in terms of what he'd actually bring to the table, if they got it done, like if they went through 3-1, hell, 3-2, any amount of going through, and he's a 120 rating, he doesn't have to be the leader of the stage in rating. He will have been the MVP because he will have called his way through and had to lead a bunch of rookies to the promised land of stage 2. So no, it's a very good pick. I'm going to be boring. It's just going to be twists. Like, FaZe will go 2-3 and he'll drop a 135. Like, I don't care. It's going to be twists. Like, that's my pick for stage 1 sort of MVP. Look, FaZe, they do have another player who's worthy of this sort of conversation in Frozen. But since joining, Twist has been the highest rated by a long shot. He's been, across the year, just dropping crazy numbers. As soon as he's given up leadership and returned to fragging, he's just worked himself into such a form. Like, it's crazy watching him play. This is a field that really won't challenge him as well. Like, there isn't a rifler in this field you can say is outright, like, guaranteed to outperform him. Like, you can say Blame F could have a shot, like in a head-to-head matchup, maybe Blame F can put up better numbers. You can say that on Legacy there's a couple of options of guys who could being the operative term, could do something. But for me, the best rifler in this stage is Twists. The one who's been putting up the best numbers has been Twists. I expect FaZe to go through, and I expect Twist to be the driving force behind that. Like, he's going to dumpster a lot of people. That's what I'm hoping for, seeing as I did pick him to go through, but it's also what I think will be the case. Like, that is... It's not guaranteed, but in terms of just the difference in class, the difference in caliber, experience, current form as an individual as well, he should be able to drag this roster through with some pure hard carrying. In much the same way, this was a conversation that came up a few times whilst we were doing previews for this show, for this event rather. There is a limited sort of field of AWPers here. Like, we've talked about James already being on paper one of the better AWPers just in the stage. You go through some of these teams and they either have disappointing AWPers or AWPers that are in a bad run, like just generally, like just have bad form coming in. Like, we've seen more from Headtrick, he's been in a bad run. We've never seen a lot from Hypex. Legacy Sadzin, like, he does fine in his CT AWP rounds, but generally isn't that great a player. Or on the other extreme, we have some like really promising players or some exciting players like Zaka, who is, skilled, but we never see that much out of Lin Vision. So in that sense, are you going to stick with James also your pick for like best AWPer of the stage? Or is he someone else you see coming in and actually like putting up big numbers, performing, not necessarily winning, but just being a really impressive AWPing presence?
I think there's a lot of players who could be maybe outperforming him in the AWP role specifically. Right. Out of the teams who are here, there's a lot of talented AWPers. I think Wrinkle, as I mentioned before, is one really want to watch. I think Jambo might end up being like one of the best guys who would end up not going through, because I don't think Fnatic go through. As a little bit of a spoiler. There's a chance we just get fucking Brokey Magic. Like, there's a chance for that. And,
technically, yeah, there is a chance.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like, there's certain series out of Hypex where I'm sort of thinking, okay, maybe this guy is a little bit better than Kersey on peak. So if he hits that, then maybe that's gonna be good. But I think we're talking about Wrinkle, we're talking about James, we're talking about like a Jambo. Of course. I think Regali, of course, is going to be up there. Zachary, as you mentioned before, is an impressive player. I don't see that same level of carry out of him here for some reason. Just okay. on vibes, but I don't. I couldn't tell you why. But I think Jambo might end up being the best opera of the entire stage, even if he goes out, unfortunately. But
Okay.
other than that, my eyes on Wrinkle, because he. Am I wrong to say that this is Wrinkle's first major? It is his first major.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't remember if he's ever played anything.
No, it is his first major. And look, shit's been bad for NIP recently, and shit's been pretty bad for Wrinkle. Like his teammate, ex-Casper's guy, is putting up a 120 in the past 3 months. Wrinkle's on a 0.94. That's pretty shitty, to be honest.
He's part of the list of like guys who have been. You don't think they're a bad AWPer. Like we've seen brilliance from Wrinkle. We've seen him take down top 5 level teams single-handedly for NIP. But he's also been in a terrible run of form, like dreadful.
Yeah,
and
I think if I'll make a bold prediction for stage 1, Wrinkle is going to turn that around. I think we're going to see the Wrinkle like who's going to be taking over series. He's going to be winning these best of ones, and when they end up in that qualifying best of 3, which I think they are at some point, they're going to be up to something at some point. I think that's when he's just going to go ham and going to take them through into the next stage. That's maybe what I'm thinking. I think there's a turnaround here for him, which is going to look really good.
Yeah, look, my read on NIP as a team, I've been giving them the old. Well, it's not the old excuse. Like the old excuse when it comes to pre-major form is saving strats for the major. I've been giving them a number of different excuses in terms of them recent events because they've been playing terribly, and to me, it's almost inexplicably bad. Like it's just no one except for Asper Sky can seem to hit the broadside of a barn. Wrinkle especially being the worst offender, but U-Jerk's fallen off. Shush has not been, the Terminator he was early on this roster. And sure, we didn't expect the level to maintain, like in terms of like dropping a 118 out of anchor and pack support roles, but still, we expected a little more out of Shush. And it's been kind of meh. It's been a lot of meh. And I think there's 2 reasons for this. I think their prac has been disturbed by a pair of children being born. Like both Snappy and Exist have been kind of distracted in that sense, potentially taken away from the team for periods. The fact that they even attended Bucharest was, a bit of a surprise, but he needs to get the reps in, I guess. But there's been a number of distractions. I think if you want to be optimistic about NIP in terms of, rewriting their form into something that could be, a positive, is you just look at Star Series. They lost to lost to Na'Vi twice. That's it. They beat Bait, who are they going to face here, 2-0. They beat Paravision, who are in this group as well, 2-0. Like they had really big wins against this sort of competition, this stage 1 competition, that you can take a lot of positives from. Now, if you look at the numbers, the story didn't change enough. You know what I mean? Like it was still Casper Sky banged everyone out. Wrinkle was acceptable. Everyone else was below what we'd consider tolerable. Like that was how they ended up performing in this event. And I get it. It's still a win condition, but there's, positives and negatives to all of this stuff. I think they are going through, but I think they're going to have to really slog it out. Like I feel like they're going to go maybe like 1-2 in best of ones, find themselves in the lower sort of section of BO3s, take down an opponent based on better experience, better tactics, and then require, as you described, like that Wrinkle life game, but maybe just someone stepping up, like a massive amount of improvement. I do think they're... I just realized we're so far from the original point, but I do think they are a legitimate pick to go through. It's just, they're going to need Wrinkle to play like a star. As far as my pick for AWPer of the stage, Jambo is a good pick in terms of what he's able to provide as a ceiling. Like Jambo is, on his day, unstoppable. You know what I mean? A lot of people like to say that, like, on his day, this player's great. Like, look, Jambo, I'm not just being a standard pundit about. Like, on his day, Jambo drops 150 on almost anyone. Like, he is that quick, that explosive. When he gets it right, and he's also not scared of taking, many fights, taking repeats. When he's on that sort of level, he is going to be the kind of player that takes over a series. I mean, and if you only need it for a map, Lord, can he be terrifying. So, Jambo, high ceiling, but the floor sometimes can be a little too low. I think an interesting pick for AWP of the stage could be Slacks. Like Slacks is a
Not a
farmer.
bad choice.
Like Slacks is a farmer. Like
Not a bad choice. Yep.
He doesn't necessarily always beat like the Navis of the world. Like they definitely have to lean on players like Lake. But M80 in this stage, this is a great time to see the most out of Slacks. Like this could be a really big Slacks event. I do think the most reliable pick out of everyone still will actually be Jane. But in terms of the number of AWPs you have here, there's 16 AWPs in the stage. There is a very high chance that one of them just peaks higher. And I think, Jambo, Zaka, Wrinkle, if he shows us what he used to show us, those are the good picks for kind of the best AWPers. So, Regali technically as well, same way. In the same way Regali could. Yeah. He's been disappointing of late. So, FlyQuest. But there technically is a chance.
Like the Slacks pick, you wouldn't repeat it for stage 2. You definitely wouldn't.
Oh, no.
But he is a farmer. Like he's 100% somebody who could just farm the stage.
Like we're talking Asian teams, the lower end of European teams. So there's another NA side here. Like Slacks could drop like a 123.
Entirely possible. Yeah, entirely possible. He is good. He's genuinely a good player. It sort of falls by the wayside sometimes, I think, or people forget about it. But no, he's genuinely up there as a solid AWPer. But he has maybe the biggest sort of syndrome of dropping off against better opposition. Very consistently drops off when he's playing against significantly better teams. He won't be playing against significantly better teams. In fact, at this major, I would say that M80 are one of the better teams and more likely to go through overall. So yeah, here he has a big opportunity to sort of farm these teams. But that's a good pick actually. Yeah.
Yeah, look, because if you check out his 2025 numbers, like as soon as you filter by top 30, like the top 30 opponents, he's a 1.05. Like that's a significant drop from his 119 year-long average. Even from his top 50 is a 109, which in the current AWP meta isn't an inexcusable number. Like that's fine. But no, he does really plummet when it comes to top opposition. So I expect a dud from him if they play FaZe. But look, in the matchups with FlyQuest, NRG, Fluxo, Imperial, Eratum, Red Canids, Huns, he should be doing absolute bits. And then even against like the Lin Vision, Fnatic, NIP sort of tier of teams here, I still expect him to actually have good numbers. So no, as AWPer of the stage, Slacks is an option. Slacks is most definitely an option. I didn't do a fantasy team for this stage because my fantasy... I lost my login to HLTV a long time ago. I forgot it. Honestly. Completely forgot how to log in. I don't know what email I used. I don't know what my password is. But did you make one, Quack? Did you have a full fantasy team?
No. This entire fantasy season, I have foregone it. But I can make one right now. So if I was doing this, I did see somebody picking players here, and I think there's a couple of really overvalued players. I don't think you're getting your money's worth in Frozen or Twists. I think there's a lot of value out of getting somebody like a Lux or a Nissim. And actually, let me just see, because I did. B-Tram sent me theirs and asked me if it was good, and then I actually gave my opinion on what I would have picked.
No, see, I think I've seen the same team, and I actually disagree with your Twists opinion, because Twist will farm. Like I think that's one of the few.
Yeah, but he's 230. He's 230.
No, but you can min-max the rest of this sort of field. I think the Huns players are massively undervalued as far as like potentially if you pick the right one with the right role, like a Cobra Zero headshot percentage, like that could be a really like strong pick. So there are really good value propositions in here.
Yeah, I think most of the value is in Paravision. I think Jame going for 200 is a steal.
200 flat,
and then 200 flat, and then all the rest of them are under 200. It doesn't really matter as long as you don't pick AW. I think you're getting your money's worth out of all of the other Paravision players. It's just a bit of a gamble who's going to top frag. But I'm betting on Belchanok.
Nota on opener. You can take Belchanok on defender. Like that's ridiculous value if they're less than 200.
Yeah, and then I think you maybe want to go for an NIP player. I feel like maybe you want to go for a Shush. Bank on the experience. Maybe go for an X-Casper Sky for 206. Like that's a 120 rated player going for 206 past 3 months. I'm taking that. And
just the
then
big reason why I'm talking initially, though, still back to the twist point. I know there's no doubt in my mind he does well. You know what I mean? Like, I take twists, I stick multi-fragger on him. Like, it's just gonna work.
I might honestly, you might be right in that. You might be right that it's just worth it taking the hit. But yeah.
Yeah. No.
But you're yeah, right. Actually, here's my team. I just put one together. James Belchenok, Twists, Cobra Zero, and then Lux, because he just fit the value, and he's like, I want a legacy player in here. So I think I have 4 players going through here, and Cobra Zero is not going to go 03. So I think it's solid.
Okay. No, nice. And you just said you don't think Cobra Zero is going 03. In that sense, I think it's time to compare our pick'ems, because I did a pick'em video.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder where you fall on some of these. Like, who do you like? Who do you not like? Let me have a look. Did you shared it the other day? Yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Let's just talk about things you have in there that might be of note to people. So you have in the Advancing 3.0 Legacy Paravision. Now, I think a lot of people, myself included, actually have Legacy going 3.0. I described it in my video as, they've got good form, well-rounded in terms of, a lot of different players can frag on that team. Sadzin might be the only dud, but even then he can take over a CT side and it'd be a 1. That's all you need. It's just a really well-built team for a Swiss. And then on the other side of it, Paravision, I get it. Their ceiling's 3.0. But yeah, they're far from a lock for me. Like, when I get to that 2-0 game, if they have won both BO1s, they're playing like a bait, they're playing a phase. I think they might lose that game. And that's why I'd bait 3-0. But I understand the impulse for Paravision. The one discrepancy really that we have, because I have Paravision still in the 3-1-3-2, like the real big one. You have Linvision going through, I have Fnatic. Have you watched Fnatic play recently?
Not a lot.
Or even when they were trying to qualify for this? Paravision, Fnatic are annoying. They just win. And it's, despite not looking great tactically, despite not necessarily having the right balance of roles all the time, or everything making sense, but BlameF finds a way with this roster to just get all the big frags, win the big rounds, and somehow they're in it. There's big swing moments in the buy rounds where Fnatic will just somehow finish it off. Crims wins a clutch, or Jambo hits a stupid multi in a 3v5. Like, they have so many just little like ways to bail themselves out that I feel like they're just going to find a way. BlameF can win them 2 best of 1s out of 3. Then after that, they just need to, by hook or by crook, and historically, when I've watched them, they just keep doing it with hooks and crooks, Like, they are canny in that sense. They're a frustrating team to play against, and that's why I have them in there. And I think Linvision, as much as I agree they're a good team, like one of the better teams in theory here, I just don't think they have the mental across the team to do it again. Like, to make a really tough run happen, because I think they will need to have a tough run. I don't see them sweeping 3-0 or going 3-1 and facing a bad team. I just don't think that's going to happen again.
I absolutely think it's going to happen, precisely because I don't think it's going to happen. You see? This is the mind games you have to play with the pick'ems. Precisely because the last major, nobody thought it was going to happen. And as far as I remember, they did it twice. They did it in 2 of the stages. This exact team. And that's sort of where I'm at, where I think the fact they've managed to even stay afloat at the level they've been, the fact they're able to take some of these small upset wins against 3D Max and Gamer Legion across this fall season and bait against some of these teams that we have in these first 2 major stages. I think there's a good chance that they're able to repeat it, because they've done it a couple of times over the fall season. It doesn't make sense, but that's a sort of pattern that I've seen that I feel like I have to bank on it for this major. So it's a very simple reason. As for Fnatic, yes, you're right. They are annoying. I see pretty much everybody I've seen has put them through, and I think unfortunately they're correct. But it's just they are so annoying that I don't want to put them through. It doesn't feel right. It's
yeah,
like
karmically, I understand the vibe. Like, I understand why no one likes them right now. What they did with Cypher, yes,
well,
there's
it's not
something.
even.
If the universe
It's not,
is just, if the universe is righteous, smite this team and they will go 0-3. However, as we have learnt through thousands of years of human history, so life's a bitch, then you die. Fnatic are going through. Doesn't matter how poorly they treated Cypher, how ridiculous that idea was, how honestly short-sighted it seemed to make that change, given like the way the team looked with Cypher and Jacasmo, rather than Jacasmo and Crims. They're just going to do it. They're just going to do it.
they might. The thing is, like I said, it makes sense. It's just something I can't really get behind in a weird way, you know. It's like, yeah, it's like in the same way I put NIP as the winner of Antwerp, and when I did those pick'ems, it's just it didn't feel right to do anything else because at the time I was right or dying that team. So you know, it didn't really feel right. I know it didn't make sense, but it didn't really feel right.
Yeah, as for the 0-3, because that's always an interesting discussion, because everyone wants to put Asian teams 0-3, right? There's always this certain energy putting in an Asian team 0-3 where you're like, they don't look like they're gonna be good here. Like, we've watched them play big events. Every time they show up, they've just looked disappointing. Rare Atom's a great example. Like, the last few times you've seen them play, generally you're not very impressed. But then somehow also every time they just make it at least one win. Like, they win one BO1. You know what I mean? Like, they just avoid it. You found it in yourself to put Rare Atom in the 0-3. Are they just too bad to actually get that best of one? Like, they've just looked too weird and too underpowered.
They are too weird, too underpowered. They're making such weird changes as always. Like how Kaze is supposed to be their player coach, but now he's not on the team at all, apparently.
He's basically benched himself.
Yeah, unannounced, like, what, a week after being named the coach of the team, the playing coach of the team. So they're back to Marek. He's absolute dog shit. It's not, I don't have any faith. Do you know what Marek's rating is in this stint of Rare Atom? Well, he hasn't played for Rare Atom before. He's played for Wings Up, but I think maybe he's played with a core before, if I'm not misremembering.
So his rate, you are, but more importantly, his rating's like 0.8,
0.79 even.
There we go. Yeah, I knew it's even worse. Sort of ballpark, but no, I can tell you exactly what happened because thanks to Yumi, we found out exactly what's going on. So Kaze was player coach, then decided to bench himself. And the problem is for the major, they could only bring in someone who's on the coaching staff. Marek was assistant's coach. So Marek's now playing. Marek was not the choice as far as, this is who we'd want playing our our events. Like, this is desperate times call for desperate measures type shit. And the end result is Rare Atom are playing with as close to a stand-in as possible. Like, sure, Marek IGL'd for Wings Up as but he's not even IGLing this side on the server. He's just a support player. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, see, the way pick'ems go, all right, you either go for you want to go for at least one of the Asian teams. We have 4 teams from the Asian region in this bracket, which I think might be the most ever. I don't think we had that many last major, but we had the major the Asian teams were so successful we got even more spots. So you're not putting FlyQuest 0-3. I don't think you are. We are past the time when the Australian Renegades team core is actually a valid 0-3 pick. You're not putting Lin Vision as 0-3, I don't think. They, like I said, they have had upsets against exactly these kind of teams in the fall season. It doesn't really make sense. It's between Rare Atom and the Huns, and you could put both. But it is a guarantee in every single major. You do not put both Asian teams as 0-3 because they will face each other and one of them inevitably will win. It happens every time. Every single major. That's a rule, a law of the universe. So you have to pick one and then pick another team. So for then, I had like 5 teams I could see going 0-3 for various reasons. It's Rare Atom and the Huns. It's Fluxo, Red Canids, and then it's NRG after they announced that Nitro's not playing. So
yeah, I made my pick 'em before knowing that. So for me, NRG were not a part of my like must be 0-3 pool. They were part of my definitely not going through pool, but I didn't see them as a must 0-3 pick. I can get it why if people would have panicked and changed it to NRG post switch up. Just remember that Daps as an IGL always does surprisingly well.
This is true. This is why I have them going like 1-3 or 2-3.
Yeah. But so, the other part of it is, you know, the part that we have different, because I also took Rare Atom to go 0-3.
Yep.
Like, I do not believe in the Marek stand-in run. Like, I just don't see that happening. This is a roster with criminally weak firepower. I get that some people like Child King and Lee Hang. I've never seen them as that good that they could carry this roster out. Tiger's been a decent enough AWPer for them, but mostly it's domestic play, so I don't really have that much faith in it. And then they have Marek, who is just a black hole. Like, you know, there's no redeeming it really at that point. So I do think they have to be 0-3. But the other pick, we both picked a Brazilian team. You went Fluxo, I went Red Canids. You're not thinking this art-led team has a chance? I mean, form-wise, you could give them some credit. They've at least, you know, beaten some teams. But at the same time,
yeah.
I understand entirely, honestly, both directions. I understand both directions.
Yeah, I could go either way. I think Fluxo are, honestly, like I said, form-wise, they're pretty impressive in domestic play. They've lost to MIBR once. Like, if I go on their page, they haven't lost a lot of these games. They beat NRG in ESL Pro League earlier. They lost to Red Canids here and there, but they beat Imperial. You know, they have a couple of wins that are like and fairly close matches against Pain and Tyloo as well. I just sort of feel like if it comes down to the Red Canids versus Fluxo game, I'm gonna bet I'm betting on that underdog of Red Canids because I actually think they weren't. The fact they're even here is so impressive because they weren't supposed to be here. They were basically out for the count, and then they did exactly the performance they had to do, exactly the upset performance they had to do in that Circuit X event, with beating Fluxo, one of the teams they beat, and then very narrowly losing to MIBR in the final. They didn't need to do, they didn't need to win that game to make the major. But yeah, that was part of it where I'm like, okay, this run was actually so impressive, where just off of that, I feel like they're going to continue that run. Again, like, they're also impressive in domestic play. Like, they make work of all these easy teams, like Odic, Dusty Roots, 2Game, Yawara, all of these ones that we just see when we wake up in the morning and check what happened, like, what games happen at nighttime. All of those teams.
Well, they made work of them in Circuit X Retake Sao Paulo. But yeah, aside from that.
That's true. Yeah, but like, you know, it's not as impressive as Fluxo quite, but it's still good.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, it's kind of like they're both going to be in the O2 pool. There's a good chance they play against each other, and then I'd kind of take Red Canids for that, to be honest. I think there's an upset win because I can just see it like, wow, how did Red Canids win this? And it's like, I could absolutely see it happening because again, this is also one of those teams that they have good players. They have Venom Zero. They have some players who have played on better teams like Drop and Kawes. I think there's quality in those players, and Shade Jesus as well from Imperial. I think there is some quality in these players. It's not like I wouldn't take them over like an MIBR, for example. Obviously not. But I think there's we could see impressive stuff out of like Drop on here. I think Kawes as well has played at least decent on Red Canids since leaving Pain. And Venom Zero, obviously, I think Venom Zero is the kind of guy who's going to surprise his competitors a bit. Because they're going to go into this game. Anybody who doesn't play in South America is going to go into this game and think Venom Zero, well, I've heard some talk about him, but he's surely nothing special. That's the kind of game they lose. So for that, it's like I could see them going 1-3 basically. Fluxo, yeah, I like some of their players as well. I like Art, I like Lukauzi, I like ZV, but I'm not a huge fan of the team overall, and I do think they go 0-3. I think it's happened before where I feel like Fluxo kind of just show up and then exit, and that's what they do.
Okay, well, we've talked about 2 Brazilians.
Yep.
There's a third Brazilian team here that honestly has not looked impressive. There's been really disappointing. They
Nope.
have an AWPer that some people still like and find impressive and talented, but generally, this Imperial roster's been a mess. And the losses they've sustained,
Yeah.
the way their riflers have played, there's a valid case to make for this team actually being an 0-3 pick. Did you consider it?
No, I had it in my mind, but I think again that's just gonna come down to it might like if they end up in that 0-2 pool, is there anybody they can play? Which I think they're definitely gonna lose, and I don't think so. If I'm running through like the Fluxo versus Imperial versus Red Canids versus Rare Atom versus all it's like circularly in my head, I do feel like Imperial float to the top in such an event. And of course, like there could still be an upset. Like I said, they did lose to Fluxo quite recently, about a month ago or 2 months ago. Happens. That's a valid loss, and that's a loss which I think has to be considered in a way. But it's not. I'm not super against them in that sense. They played 2-3 in a best of 3 against MIBR as well, not too long ago, with Klim and Kicker. It's like this is a team which I think has out of these 3, out of Red Canids, Fluxo, honestly, even with Rare Atom as well, maybe even the Hunts, I think they have the highest ceiling. Imperial. It's just they very rarely reach it. But yeah, in theory, like power ranking, if I'm doing pound for pound with these players, it's got to be Imperial. And in this case, it's so even where like that power ranking sort of edges it for me.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I didn't put them 0-3. I considered, the fact that they have a flaw that to me screams 0-3. Like, if you're not getting the best version of Try, because he has a tendency to disappear in some of the games they've been losing, if you're getting the standard fare from guys like No Way and Skulls, like most of the time they've been on this roster, like it's lost sort of 3 to 6 months, especially, they've just been poor. Yeah, for me, that in that sense, if you see the worst of them, they can go 0-3, then go straight 0-3. I just don't think it's as likely. I think you're more likely to get a best of 1 win out of some of these guys from the AWP. Potentially, if everyone's firing, you can get a 3-2 run out of this roster. It's not absurd. I highly doubt it. I see them going 1-3, maybe 2-3. But they are a relatively weak roster coming into this as far as their results and everything. So they could turn it around. We've seen better before. But right now, it's just not a great place for this Imperial roster.
I have them high enough to go 1-3. Yeah, that's about where I think they're gonna end up. But in a way, that's where I'm locking them in. I don't have a lot of leeway where like they can't go down, they can't go up. But that's where they are.
Understandable. Okay. Day 1 is about to start. In about 55 minutes is my my timing on this. Let's predict some upsets. Day 1's about to start. There's a bunch of matchups. We already know who's playing who. We got Bait M80, Imperial Rare Atom, Legacy FlyQuest, Paravision Huns, NIP NRG, Gamer Legion Fluxo, Fnatic Red Canids, and FaZe Vision. Now, the reason I'm doing this and posing the question to you especially is because when I ran through my pick'ems and did the whole simulator, I genuinely picked 0 round 1, day 1 upsets. Now, I guess day 1 extends to round 2 as well. So technically, I might have picked some round 2 upsets, but day 1, round 1, just looking at these matchups. Quack, where do you see one happening? Like, if you had to pick one, the most likely upset to happen, which one is it?
I think there's some leeway to what you think is an upset in some of these games.
Just going based on the seeding. If in that case, if you think there's somewhere that apparently they're flipped, then clearly you think the upset's quite likely. So
no, it's not necessarily that I think one is flipped. I think all of these are very even. Like I think you could go either way in a couple of these. But I think if I'm going to pick one most likely, I feel like it is just guaranteed that FaZe lose the opening game because Vision are pretty strong. Like I think Vision are a decently strong team. I think FaZe have been so weak going into this, and I think they are gonna tank one of these best of 3s. It might as well be the one against the near top 20 side, which has done upsets against teams of the caliber like 3D Max, Gamer Legion, and Bait, teams who I think are at this point maybe almost as good as FaZe are at the moment. They've done it in the fall season, so maybe that's the one where they could end up. That that's the one which they could end up winning against FaZe. Then there's some other games. I think honestly, FlyQuest are a little bit of a dark horse for this stage. I've seen some nut jobs put them 3-0, and I kind of respect it because there is honestly every chance that FlyQuest could at least go through. They might as well go through 3-0. If they make that upset happening as if they make the upset against Legacy happening in the first game, like if they make that happen, I could kind of see them just running away with it until 3-0, because that's probably the toughest game they'll play all stage, with the exception of maybe playing FaZe. Aside from that, talking about the 0-3 bracket, two of the candidates there, Imperial and Rare Atom, are playing each other in the first game. That's sort of why I don't have Imperial going 0-3, because that would imply Rare Atom win a game. But
explicitly, right there. You can't have both those teams 0-3. Like, that's just legally impossible.
Nope. Yep. So, but then all of these games are so even. Like, I could easily see. I don't even know who is the seeding favorite. Is it Bait who's the seeding favorite against M80? I assume it is.
Yes.
I could see M80 winning that 100%.
Yeah, just to address your upset picks, though, just to start with the FaZe thing. I understand entirely. And me not having Linvision going through in my pick'em is not supposed to be a massive indictment on the roster. I could, if I talk about Linvision as a team ceiling floor, the ceiling is 3-0. But FaZe currently have two of the best riflers in the world. One of which is in literal career peak form. They've been in the sort of background grinding away for like a good couple weeks now, trying to figure themselves out again, trying to, get Brokey to not play like the worst player to have ever touched an AWP before, trying to get Jacob and Carrigan and everyone on the same page as far as how that's sort of his role's going to work and how he's going to play with the team and what's best for him, because I'm sure they're going to fine-tune it a bit more than they have. It's currently just big side anchor, a hard entry who dies. It's a bit of a tough role. They need to really help him adjust to that. If that's going to continue being his role, even they just need to keep working on it. So I feel like they'll come in looking a bit different to anything sort of prep you could have. They're going to be fresher. They're going to be up for it. It is also the big deal event. It's the major. Two of these players have won it before. The rest of them have been at a dozen, and then they've only got one debut, and that's Jacob. Like, they are the more experienced side. I do think FaZe win that game. I do think the other one you touched on right at the end might be the more likely one. I have Bait 3-0, but M80, that's a damn good side, a damn dangerous side, and I get that Bait are always frustrating and difficult to play against. Kenzie's always going to take 150,000 fucking opening fights against you. NPL is just one of the best riflers in this sort of stage. Like, he just fucks. Like, that's who he is. So I think that despite all of Bait's strengths in a best of one, you're telling me you don't see, like, Lake can win a best of one against anyone. Of course he can win a best of one against Bait. The rest of the roster is pretty, like, has shown a pretty decent level of composure and clutch factor. That's how they were able to fluke that Blast London run. Yeah, M80 are a dangerous side. They're sort of landmine you don't want to sort of be stepping on in this stage.
Yeah.
I agree with that pick. If I had to make a pick just to throw one out here that's you've not selected, you've not gotten a chance to touch on. The Huns upsetting Parry Vision is there. Best of one, Score and Cobra Zero, 9 on the AWP IGL. You're telling me if we end on if it's like a Dust 2 or a Mirage or any of the maps where things can just get a bit open, you're telling me you're happy, you're confident, you're cocky with your four rookies coming into this? I don't know. I like the Huns upsetting Parry Vision. If I had to pick upsets. Again, as I said, in my actual prediction, I made 0 upsets at this stage. But if I had to open the door, even a crack, I think that's one of the first to slip through. That's a crazy difficult game in a best of one.
Entirely possible. Yeah, entirely. Is it? I didn't consider. Is 9 also AWP IGLing? Is this a battle of the AWP IGLs? That's an
It is an
amazing
ALP-IGL
game.
debut, like straight out the gate.
Like, game of the day, 100%. That's gonna be. But
game of the day.
yeah,
that
I can
no
see that.
one will watch. So no Brazilians
Yeah, no.
and no top names that the international pleb sort of audience cares about. So no one's watching this one.
Game, yeah, no, but you're right. That's absolutely that could happen. When you actually pick these games apart, I can see upset in a lot of them. Like I think there's one which is such a swing that I could see it go either way. And it's, if I'm gonna make another pick, and it's NIP NRG. I think NRG could win that because, as you said, Daps always surprisingly well when he has to step in and call. NIP recently, dog shit. And somebody mentioned Exotic earlier in this. Like, you already have on Energy, Sonic and Bro are pretty damn solid. Georgie, he's not up there internationally as he is on NA. He's still kind of solid. And if you have like a Shush, Wrinkle, U-Jerks doing absolute fuck all, then yeah, Georgie's probably going to do a good enough job to carry that over the line. And with Exotic, I'm kind of like cautiously looking at this guy because he's never impressed me when I've watched him, like, outright. He's never had an event where, like, internationally, when they have played internationally, I've like, outside of NA, I've never felt like they're doing, ooh, so good, he's doing such good stuff. They've only really had one chance to do that. It was EPL. Then, of course, they had some Philadelphia and stuff, etc., etc. But it's like he's just so good in that domestic play in the same way that I see somebody like Slacks being. And I think he's such a wild card where people might not expect him to do well whatsoever. Where it very well could be that in an NIP game like that, he just shows up and absolutely fucks. It's entirely possible. That's the issue with some of these NA players. As much as we see more or less all of them just drop off hard as soon as they play outside of NA, as soon as they play somebody better than getting info.
As soon as someone
who flashes. Yeah, they just drop off hard. But there is also just like, occasionally, just that star power just sort of continues sometimes for some of these NA players. There's a chance we get that. And as far as I remember, I was hearing that Exotic was going to be gone. Like, when Sonic came in, I was hearing that Exotic was also going to be gone when Carson was gone. So I'm almost wondering, is this maybe like a little bit of a dead team thing where you have Nitro missing and Exotic is technically benched, but just privately? Is there a chance we have that? And then I'm kind of like, okay, fucking anything could happen with this NRG team.
Dead team buff, let's go.
Yeah, it exists. It's real. Yeah. Maybe this is such a fuck, we didn't have Nitro, this may just a write-off, we're absolutely not making it through to the next stage. That's when they go 3-0. Like,
it's a stretch because look, some teams are
it's a stretch, but yeah.
When a team that's dead though, that also is playing internationally for the first time in a long time, like, it's, I don't see it. I think that's one of the bigger reaches. The way it happens is nothing to do with NRG. Nothing. It's purely NIP come in playing like they did in Bucharest. If NIP come in playing their worst CS, theoretically possible, yes, there's a best of one upset. Shit, they're going 0-3 if they play that sort of way. Like, they're just going to look completely flat. I don't think they will, so I think this is one of the big reaches for an upset pick. But hey, credit to you if it hits. Like, you saw it coming, but I don't think it will.
I don't think it's coming. I think NIP are making work that game. But as I'm picking these games apart, I think maybe more so than a Fluxo over Gamer Legion or a Red Canids over Fnatic, I could see an NRG over NIP. If I'm picking up these lower end teams. But I do still think NRG are an 0-3 pick, and if you've picked them for 0-3, I don't think you need to sweat.
Okay. Right, well, let's move up in the world. Let's talk about the major in its entirety. Let's talk about the Power 10. Because, it's been a key theme on this show to try and update where we're actually at with the scene. Things have been so open at the top, and, well, the major Power 10, I don't know, it's going to be a little interesting. Because here's the thing. We obviously know who some of the top dogs are. But the way the major's broken down with its stages, I think actually does change some really important details. So, at number 10. Oh, bloody hell. These are not in the right order. There we go. I have Astralis. Yeah, I clicked on the wrong one and it just popped up. Like, yeah, okay, there we go.
I wonder who number 9 is.
Yeah, it's a surprise. But number 10, Astralis, they take a step back. Honestly, part of it is the stage of the major they're playing through. And a part of it is also, I've got to win best of ones. I've got to play BO1. I don't trust this. I don't know on this team who's going to win me a BO1. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really have that sort of depth of star power. There's no player I can just go, yeah, you'll take it over. Like, they are win by committee, win by strategy type of team right now. It's not how I like my teams going into an open Swiss like this. And number 9, with slightly more fragging ability, and that's why they're here, I do have Na'Vi. Like, I know Makaze can just rip a game of Mirage apart. Like, I know he can just throw himself out on Ancient 100 times, drop 25 kills, win the game single-handedly. Like, I know I have players on Na'Vi who can do that. And as well as that, they do have the backup of having the strats, etc. So no, Na'Vi, I think, should be your number 9 team. Your number 8 team, and this is mostly due to the fact that they are starting in stage 2 and have a longer sort of road to make it. They've got to get through 2 Swisses. 2 Swisses. I don't know if you've ever met the Swiss, but you have to deal with 2 of them. Like, that's tough. That's tough. Aurora, number 8. Honestly, based on some other teams and how some other teams play recently, and also some problems some other teams have been having, they could be higher, but no. This is purely because of the way their stages are looking. And number 7, it's the Mongols. Yes, they maintain a higher position, despite the fact that we've seen sort of the Control-Ez experiment run, and we're like, okay, they have to hard set him up. He gets decent numbers. The team sucks. It's not good enough. Despite that, they are starting in stage 3. They still have the best sort of options for them as far as, they've got a great Coach IGL combo. They've got great role players in Mazinho and Techno who can really shoot hard. In a best of 1, they have every single option when it comes to who can win you a game. It's like, yeah, 9-10 has the ceiling to win me a best of 1. Mazinho, Techno both have the aim to win me a best of 1. Blitz can do it. And hell, if setting up controllers actually works, that'll work. At number 6, give me G2. Their ceiling is major winning. It's not just making it into playoffs like a lot of these teams. It's major winning. So they have to be here. I don't care that they haven't shown us the ceiling since Blast London. Oh, they've been figured out. Yeah. Pipe down. When Matisse is just doing work in those playoffs to your favorite team, you'll know. And number 5, and continuing to disappoint, is Spirit. Again, everyone who's up here is going to be sort of major ceiling type team. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be able to do it. And so I have to have them here. Quack, what are you talking about?
You have 4 more spots, all right?
Yeah.
You must have left out either Vitality, Furia. What am I talking about?
You can't count, bro. Like, what?
I cannot count.
Anyway. Yes, Spirit, major winning ceiling. Look, they didn't look that good coming into their last major win. They'd finished second place at the Blast World Final, and that was nice. But before that, really disappointing exits. They were losing to teams they usually beat, like Na'Vi. They were losing to G2 every time they even sniffed them. Like, it wasn't that great. Similarly here, they've not looked good. The firepower's there. They can still win it. At number 4, give me Mouse. At some point, something's got to give, right? They can theoretically beat everyone who is a major contender. Like, they've done it. They have individually beaten everyone over the course of the last 6 months who should be winning the major. They just need to put it together. They're going to be top 4. We all know that's the law, right? Mouse make top 4. No matter what. At number 3, Vitality. The lowest they've been in a long time in terms of power rankings for anyone, but it just has to be done. They've really been unimpressive. They've been good, but in terms of making yourself the major contender, the team that will win it, they've not looked like that way. They've lost to Falcons. They've lost to Furia. They've lost to Mouse. They've got too many losses on their resume right now for me to be happier than that in terms of a top team. Above them is, of course, Falcons. You hate to see it if you are the majority of the scene. You know, all the money they spent, one more superstar. No, they're not really that far off. They're really not that far off. And as I pointed out to Yumi on the double swing, for all their improper strategy and terrible team play, they have beaten Vitality, Mouse. Like they've taken down these top allegedly super tactical teams. I think the only team they've left that they haven't beaten recently is Furia. Their last 4 events have ended in 3 losses to Furia and 1 loss to Vitality they've then avenged. Falcons are it right now, and at number 1, yes, it is Furia. Has to be. There's no two ways about it. Look, I don't think the gap between them and Falcons is even that great in terms of overall like level when it comes to like firepower and what the team could in theory do on the server, but in practice, Furia just clutch out. They've been more resolute, they've been more stoic, they've been more composed, and they've won the games that matter. They've won the clutches that matter. Shout out Keserato. And they've pulled the wins out the bag. Winning is a skill, as a lot of analysts say. And Furia, loaded with that skill right now. They have to be the number 1 team going into the major. But as far as who can to actually win the major, it feels so open, and you never know what's going to happen with the seeding, the way things are going to play out in the Swiss. It's wide open, but we do have a solid favourite.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts, Quack? Where have I been absolutely delusional and wrong?
I don't think there's a team missing out which you could put in here. Like, as much as I'd want to make a case for like a Legacy or a 3D Max or maybe a Passion UA, because I'm kind of up on them right now. I don't think you can put them above even a Mongols. Like even what I think is maybe the weakest one here. The one which I think you have placed Mongols maybe a bit too high is my thing, because when I'm looking at their past games, they beat 9Z, they beat Heroic, they beat Pain, and they did beat Spirit once, and they did beat Aurora in a 3rd place decider. They did manage to do all that, but they've also lost to Astralis. They lost to Navi twice, even with Sensu. They lost Inner Circle with Sensu. And they've lost to Passion UA. And then they did lose to Spirit. Even after beating Spirit in Chengdu, they did lose to them in Blast Rivals. So I'm sort of feeling that I feel like Navi almost have to go above them when they've beaten them twice in a row. When Navi have beaten Mongols twice in a row, I sort of want to put Navi above them. I can't put Navi over Aurora. So then I'd probably slide Mongols down to 9th and move Aurora and Navi up to 7th and 8th. But that's maybe the only change I'd make, because I think you're right that Falcons do honestly look a little bit better than Vitality right now, in my opinion. And I think obviously Furia, I think, are the favorites at the moment. I think Mouse over Spirit, yeah, that's a solid pick as well. Maybe, I don't think you could stretch it to G2 over Spirit. I don't think you could stretch it to that.
You can't quite, just because of recent form. Like, sure, Spirit have not been in the best of form, but neither have G2. And Blast London was a long time ago. And when we talk about the individual, we kind of have the similar win cons with G2 and Spirit. We're talking about like the firepower prevailing. We don't, everyone's got opinions about their IGLing and all that sort of stuff. Spirit just have the more like extreme version. Like they have Donk and they have Shiro and they have in theory Tanir. He's not really shown it yet, but he's there. They also, like, if you watch Sway when he's on, when he has a good game, devastating. Like, he can be really strong. So there's a number of players on that Spirit side that you like, if you put up the balances of firepower, you're like, okay, I give the edge to Spirit. If they look as confused and as broken as far as how their system should work and how different players should be set up as they have done recently, then you probably switch them around, but there's no guarantee. They've not looked like that in every game. Plus, on top of that, Donk can always just drop a 170. So, tough to really have them the other way around.
Yeah, it is just what I'm thinking about is Mongols, basically. Because if you put them 7th, you're thinking more likely than not that they make playoffs. But
yes, I have to, because of the way probability works. They are playing only one Swiss stage. I do think they are better equipped for a Swiss stage than Navi, than Astralis. And I think in terms of the Aurora matchup, I think they have the better leadership. They have the better IGL, the better coach. And as much as they have gotten it wrong with their use of controllers in terms of they hard set him up and he hasn't delivered, That doesn't mean they won't be able to change it up. They've shown us varieties of approaches in the past. Oh, yeah. I think Mongols have edges over a team like Aurora that you just don't necessarily think about on paper, especially when you think Xantares, Wicardia, like what a duo. Woxic's been one of the better AWPers when he has an AWP in his hands in the entire world. Like he's the only one approaching the top 4 in terms of level of output with the AWP. Surely they have to be top. It's like, yeah, but did you watch them play? Did you watch them play? Like we found them out 3 months ago. They've still been playing the same way. Even with this break they've taken, I don't think they're going to have revamped the playbook enough. They're still going to be pretty predictable, pretty easy to play against in terms of at least the concepts they're throwing at you. Yeah, I just see Mongols having a too big of an edge over Aurora in terms of their coach IGL duo to be the sort of lower seed. Add to that the bottom 3 teams here, Astralis, Na'Vi, and Aurora, all need to go through stage 2 before they even make it here. Then they're coming in with lower seeding. I think the BO1 Swiss is going to be tough for them. Mongols hold their own in my eyes.
I think it being a power ranking, I'm not really considering their probabilities as much. I'm more considering who do I think is better. And I do think that maybe that.
Well, this isn't general. This isn't generic. This is the major, specifically for the major. If we had these 10 teams in an open, let's say we took the top 16, had an open just 16 team bracket playoff or a round robin, I could make all those changes. I could have Mongols as low as 12. Unfortunately, we are looking at the major. Specifically for the major, I think this holds.
You're not wrong, but it's like. Yeah, in the average case, I think you might be right in this. But if I'm putting it down to like, okay, Mongols need to win 3 best of 3s to make it through. Let's just say they end up in the 2-0 pool, and they're playing in those 3 specific like games they need to play to go through best of 3s. It's Aurora, Na'Vi, Astralis. I'm taking Aurora, Na'Vi, and Astralis for winning all 3 of those. Is the thing. If that sort of chain happens, that's not necessarily likely, but that sort of tells me that Mongols should be below them in a way. I think they don't go further than 10th at worst, and even then, like putting them above Astralis is a little bit. But you know, it's tricky. It's tricky because I don't think Mongols have the upper end. They haven't really beaten anybody who's above them except for Spirit once, and they did lose the rematch in the most recent event. The teams below them, they beat,
except for their wins over Aurora, over Spirit, except for all these really good wins that they've had despite.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Like
they had.
Like, what do we say?
No, they had the Spirit win with Senzu, I'm pretty sure, and then they lost to Spirit in the rematch with Controllers. No, sorry, no, they did have Controllers in the Spirit win. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, but they did have a Spirit win. They lose the rematch. I'm sort of ±0 there, but they lose to Astralis. They lose to Na'Vi twice. Even with Senzu, they lost to Na'Vi twice. They beat Aurora with Senzu. That's solid. It was just before Senzu's removal, but he was there. So then I am kind of like, but that's not a team above them. Aurora is below them. So, but like they don't really have the upset win against. There's no win against G2. There's no win against Furia. Obviously, you wouldn't get that. But you know, you get what I mean. Can I put them higher?
Exactly
no.
what you mean, but again, I don't think it applies entirely.
They're losing more to the teams you've put below them than they are winning against the teams ahead of them. That's why I feel like that pushes them down for me. But then again, I can also look at all the other teams, and I think some of them have losses to teams you haven't even put in the ranking, while Mongols actually don't lose those games. There's no like.
And you want them to make it through 2 Swisses? 2 Swisses. They can't even be guaranteed to make it out of 1.
Yeah,
and
yeah. That's why I'm like,
I
think you're right. I think you're right. I think you might be right, but it's like apples and oranges in a way, because Mongols I don't think have the upper end to be 7th, but I also don't think the teams below them really have the upper end, or rather they don't have the lower end to be top 7. That's the thing. That's a tricky thing. I think Mongols have a impressively high floor considering they're playing with a fucking Unk instead of their star player.
Such an old man, that guy.
That's genuinely, I'm kind of impressed by that, to be honest. So I can't push Mongols much lower, but it's apples and oranges. It's like it would be much easier if I could genuinely say all of these teams had the same floor, but Na'Vi have beaten Mongols twice. Then I'd put Na'Vi above Mongols. But that isn't really the case, because I think Na'Vi do take some losses that I don't think they should take, like against Heroic, or even against Astralis, who on this ranking are below them, which I think is fair. So 3D Max, another one, relatively recent loss. So, bleh, yeah, I think maybe this is about as right as it comes.
Okay, well, let's stop talking about the major briefly. Briefly, don't worry, everyone. We'll be back to the major real quick. Don't worry. We are going to quickly recap an event that happened, a LAN event, because it does have some pretty significant repercussions for the next season. Apologies for that terrifying picture of Syra down below. It's just down below Quack. Consider them to be like, this is normal Quack, down there's evil Quack. Draculan is a big deal. Just because of the LAN wins and how they sort of translate into VRS, and we'll get into some of those changes right at the end. But also, yeah, it's just a great time to see these teams play in a LAN setting. We also got to see specifically Quack's new top 10 favorite to make a deep in the major, Passion UA play. We'll see how his faith holds up after he hears who they lost to. But yeah, the winners of this event, Foot, the young team formerly Na'Vi Academy, who did have to make a lower bracket run of best of threes after an opening best of one loss. Seriously, Draculan, you're this close to the perfect fucking format, and you have BO1s as the opening sort of stage. Like, just if you want to save time, get a few extra PCs and just cram best of threes on day one on top of each other. Like 3 streams, or don't stream them, but anything. Anything's better than BO1s, because that led to a lot of fuckery and a lot of really good teams eliminating each other in the lower section. Most notably, for me, you actually had Foot playing Inner Circle in the lower 3rd round. Like, just shouldn't have happened. But anyway, yes, Foot do make the run through. They beat Unity. They beat this friendly... What's it? Friendly something? Campers. Yeah, the essentially ex-ESC team. Inner Circle tricked Ents, Passion UA. Ents and Passion UA both 2-0s. And then finally get to play Ecstatic in the upper final, or in the final, beat them 2-0, and take home a pretty surprising, although very impressive, LAN win, and a bunch of tasty VRS points. You could honestly say they don't even have the MVP of the event on their team. Like, none of their players end up particularly high rated. It ends up being quite the grind for them, with a pretty balanced team performance. But yeah, a huge win for them and a massive swing in VRS for them as well.
Yeah, it's a nice win. I do think for Passion UA, it's uncharacteristically they usually play these games much closer. Usually I feel like a Passion UA game, the maps are going to be double digits, and it's going to be a 3-mapper, almost no matter who they play, in a weird way. But here they get absolutely stomped by Ecstatic, and then Foot managed to take a pretty solid win against them, 13-4 on Train as well. That's such a JT home map, where that's genuinely really impressive. And then they play Train again, and winning against Ecstatic. Again, Ecstatic, a team who play Train. And yeah, have since its introduction been pretty solid on it, I feel like. So yeah, it's a very solid win for Foot. Very well done. Lower bracket run, like a proper gauntlet. They play Passion UA, Ends, even Tricked, I think could be dangerous. Like, there's some players on here who can be dangerous. Nikki B, for example. Inner Circle, very impressive win there in an elimination series as well. I probably, maybe honestly would have taken Inner Circle there, but there's a stand-in thing with that as well. Yeah, Friendly Campers they take down, and you know, even after that initial best of one upset against AM, which is a team which I think has a higher ceiling than a lot of people give them credit for. I think they show that in such a win against Foot.
In a best of 3, they never lose it. I'm sorry. Best of 3 is a 2-1 every
That's
time.
true.
Like,
that's absolutely
just
true.
Not
absolutely
a question.
True.
This AM team is so
absolutely
limited.
true. Absolutely true, but the higher ceiling is gonna do them wonders in best of one, and it did. But then making the lower bracket run into winning is maybe the most impressive thing that Foot have managed to do here. But yeah, it's a fun event, Draculan. I think there was only ever 3 teams who were going to be top 3, and it was going to be Ecstatic, Foot, and Passion UA. But I didn't expect it to be in this order, to be honest.
Well, I think Ensign and Inner Circle have to be given at least a sniff. Like, sure, Inner Circle will change, but it's not like they replaced a good rifler with a coach. Like, let's be clear, they brought Zero Fix in for Knifey. I mean, Knifey is a really strong player for them, but it's still not it's not that much of a it's not that explicit of a downgrade. So those are those teams I expect to be contending. Yeah, Ents have to go down to the lower bracket, and they end up placing Foot in the lower final. You know, it's just a bit of a waste when Tricked get to make their way comfortably to the up semis, as do Nexus after an upset BO1. Like, I just don't like the way this sort of bracket plays out thanks to those BO1s. But the BO3's kind of rectified in the sense that the better teams generally won them. Ecstatic sent Tricked down to the lower bracket, then Tricked lost to Foot. Like, it was preordained. It's how it would have happened if it was all set up properly. But yeah, the big disappointments, I think, for this sort of event, I guess Inner Circle, you have to say it's disappointing, even though, as we said, there is the stand-in. They still would have been expected to be one of the stronger teams here. I hoped to see something more out of a roster like Unity, but they got obliterated by Acor in their BO1, and then down in the lower bracket had to face Foot, which, yeah, there you go. They'd take a map but still go home straight away. Last place for Unity in this field. It's going to feel rough. At least last place in this portion. There's technically a group stage for teams who were way further down.
Shit.
But yeah, I think they're going to be regretting that one. And the other one obviously is Ents. Like, Ents are actually a really good team. Like, they're ranked 33rd in the world by HLTV. They would have expected a really strong run. And whilst they did get 4 BO3 wins after that opening BO1 loss, including avenging their BO1 loss 2-0, they're going to be upset that they didn't actually get the win over Foot. I feel like that was for them a wide open game, and they lose the first map on overtime, completely collapse on Mirage. Just nothing to offer. I think that's going to be a disappointment for them. But yeah, going into next season, looking at these changes, a massive number of points for Foot. 161, taking them up 19 spots, so roughly around 22nd. You know, there's other things at play. Ecstatic, who also make a fairly good upper run, plus 92 points, go up to 36th. Ents do take some points, plus 13, but just because of the changes around them at this event, they lose 2 spots. And yeah, there's some other teams that take massive swings, like Wopa finally in the top 150 sort of range. Unity actually get some points out of this, despite the lack of wins. And AM, quite critically, take 23 ranking points off their 121 points, 23 ranking spots, up to 56th. So going into next season, Foot have essentially opened the door for themselves being a tier 1.5 team. Just off the back of this, and a bunch of other teams have given themselves the chance to get, you know, proper invites when it comes to things like CCT, main stage invites, playoff invites. A really critical event all round.
Yeah, I will remind everybody that the January ranking is absolutely crucial for this season. There's only 5 big events in the spring season, which are going to happen and finish before the major invite cutoff. There's actually more tier 1 events after the major invite cutoff than there are before it. So for teams like Foot, it could be absolutely crucial to make their way into an IEM Krakow or a PGL Cluj-Napoca. And as it stands, I think with this result, they are projected to be inside that Krakow invite range. They're 1 spot off in the PGL Cluj-Napoca one. There's also Blast Bounty, which is one of those 5, which they are also projected to be in because they're inviting a lot of teams. So Foot, this win, adding 20 spots to their VRS just in time when they're not playing the major is actually very important for them. So they're looking solid to be in at least 2 out of 5 of those events. Probably, like, honestly, if they can play something more online, I don't know if there's anything going on for them before December 1st. No, they're playing Galaxy Battle, but that's not gonna be in time. Oh wait, actually no, yeah. For the January ranking, they're fine. They could make it into Cluj-Napoca as well if they do well in this Galaxy Battle event where they have a playoff invite. If they just do well enough to gain 1 more spot, then they are in 3 out of 5 of the events that decide the major spot for Cologne. And that's basically, that is them giving, they're getting a chance to get into the Cologne major right now. That's what they're doing. And it's the only way they're going to get a chance. Everybody who hasn't got that chance so far at the end of the fall season is not going to get it. But Foot have managed to do it. That's impressive. I think Ecstatic could have done it. If they did better at this event, I think they could have done it. I don't think they are anywhere near being there at the moment, but that's the difference that this LAN win is making for these teams. And that's why it's super, super, super important. So yeah, solid for food. I like food. Good job. Yeah, nice job.
Yeah, let's move on to the latest addition to the show in terms of recurring segments. Yes, we're changing up the show order live. Quack, if you notice, the notes have moved. It's the only segment with a theme song, so sing along in the chat if you know the words. It is time for Cock of the Week. Quack, who's the Cock of the Week? What's going on?
Oh, yeah, Cock of the Week is this HLTV forums user. It was actually, you know what? This week I was looking for bad takes. I only found good takes on Twitter. Like CS Twitter has been nice this week.
You read some hot takes from the HLTV thread asking for hot takes, and I was like, some of these are just valid hot takes. Like they're just hot. They're not genuinely
they're valid
insane.
Or cold. Yeah, but I have found one which maybe you can weigh in on, and I don't think it might not be egregious, but it is definitely hyperbolic, if nothing else. So the headline is from Counter-Strike Cell on HLTV forums.
Good stuff.
Symmetry, the next simple ? Symmetry online, 1.02 rating versus plumbers, but 1.06 versus top 30 teams. But Symmetry on LAN, 1.12 rating plus 1.29 versus top 20. Is he another LAN merchant that only performs when the pressure is high? I think he's the next simple, the future GOAT of AWP.
So this is not a very complicated take to address.
No.
Step 1, laugh. Step 2, dismiss, because either it's clear rage bait or clearly someone who's escaped some kind of, short bus or some sort of asylum or something. Like, this is clearly not really serious. Like,
do you not think Symmetry is the next simple? Who only performs when the pressure is high?
Symmetry play. I've also watched Simple play. Simple performs everywhere, and Symmetry is not that impressive. Quite simply.
But Simple is kind of shitting the bed online right now, to be honest.
Oh,
Just
wow.
Play devil's advocate.
Wow. Yes. What a great piece of analysis coming from the internet's finest. Yeah, this is useless. This is such a waste of time. Like, Symmetry is just not that next guy. Like, he had a good run for Foot in this sort of trophy. Like, he ends with a 120 for the entire event. So his Draculan numbers are nice. But his numbers are not real. Like, he's played 8 maps against the top 20 in inverted commas on LAN. And who even are they? Like, he has a good map against FaZe, and a couple good maps against Pain. Like, that's it. Like,
yep.
That's what he's got. Is like, he had a decent run that one time a few months ago. Like, it's not anything to really be that impressed with yet. If he was the next Simple, he wouldn't have a 1.02 online, because Simple for 10 years fucking annihilated everyone. Let's not be idiots. This is clearly rage bait or genuine mental illness.
As is often the case.
So there is no real point to elaborating.
To finish it off, there's a reply here, which I think sums the thread up perfectly. Symmetry, next bait opper, which is probably true, to be honest. Once Head Trick has run its course, it's probably going to be Symmetry.
Yeah, I've seen some weird takes surrounding Simple this week. Honestly, like, I saw someone posting this absolute cringe in the forums that was about how the only top AWPers are fake Simples, and Simple's wasting his time playing Dota and clearly, sucking ass. He should take the mantle back as being the real Simple and the real top AWPer in the world and start trying again. It was some sort of weird, like, pseudo-inspirational sort of tweet. Like, you know what I mean? It was just strange. There's a lot of insanity and delusion when it comes to Simple and people's interactions with him. But yeah, that's going to be our Cock of the Week. Honestly, pretty unimpressive cock. Just a crazy guy. And that brings us to the Retake games, which are, this week, all major themed, of course, because it's the major. Let's talk about it. We've got some games. I've got 2 games ready. You've got one. I'm going to start with one of mine.
Yep.
I've called this game Bullseye. It's just a little game where you are throwing darts, in this case, guesses, at the board. So there are categories I'm going to name for you, and you have to try and figure out who's the top, who's the bullseye, in that sense. And then there are points for basically how close you get to the top. So the top player or top team of the statistical category is worth 4 points. The next 4, who are in the top 5, therefore, are worth 2. And then the next 5 who are in the top 10 are worth 1. You have a maximum of course, 8 points per round, with 5 rounds, totaling 40 points. So your score will be out of 40. And yeah, let's see how you do it. A caveat, just in case you get pissed off or annoyed or weirded out by something. It's a minimum 43 maps, because that is the default that HLTV's leaderboards goes to when you go to majors and leaderboard. It's not something I've arbitrarily chosen to exclude Donk. It just happens to exclude Donk.
Thank you.
Just a heads up, because I knew that'd come up.
Yeah.
That's the important. I'm not going to tell you anyone else it excludes or who it includes.
No.
But I thought Donk would be important, seeing as I have chosen some fragging numbers, some fragging related numbers. Yes, Donk is not going to be a part of this, unfortunately. But let's begin with, let's go with one of the simpler ones. This is maps played by orgs. So by orgs in all of Valve-sponsored Majored history, who has played the most maps as an org?
Oh, this is tricky.
You have 3 darts.
I have 3 darts. I know Navi have played, if not all majors, they've played almost all of them.
Right.
I can't remember if maybe they missed one, but it's very famously they've played all the CSGO and CS2 majors. So they're a good shot, but they're also almost always like a stage, the final stage invite. Before it was because they almost always made legends.
Yeah.
And they also often didn't make it that deep. Like they'd play the Swiss stage and then lose in the quarterfinal. That's how a lot of Navi's majors go.
Okay.
They also played a lot of finals. Guardian very famously. Who else could it even be? It couldn't be FaZe because they switched orgs quite a lot. Like they were G2, they were Kingwin in the early history. I don't think it could be NIP because they've been missing a lot of the recent majors. And it couldn't be. I don't think it's Astralis for the same reason either, because they also missed a lot of the recent ones, and also they weren't a thing before 2016, I think 17 maybe 16. But it's orgs. It could be Fnatic. Fnatic have also been missing majors. I'm gonna take a stab at Navi. I think it's my best guess.
Okay. Bullseye, 4 points. Navi has the most maps played in major history. Yes, they've played basically every major, I think literally every major, and they have 181 maps of major play, which is, honestly, they are a good way ahead of second place. Like, they are the org when it comes to just major attendance. You know, they've only won a single one, but they've played so many damn major maps, so many major playoffs. They have actually gotten the top, so 181 maps they've played at majors. And they are number 1. 2 more to throw.
Oh, I'm picking. Yeah, all right, I'm picking the rest of it. Okay, so best case, I picked 2 and 3 here. I think Fnatic is probably my best guess for second place.
Okay, 2 points. They are a second tier with 138.
A second tier?
Yeah, they're in the second
138.
tier. I'm not going to tell you exactly where they land, but yes.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so it might be one above them. Okay. Who am I missing? Is there like a... No, I don't think there's not an MIBR, there's not a Furia. I think NIP is going to be my next best guess. I think they're also in the second tier.
They are indeed. That's 8 points. A maximum of 8 points achieved on maps for orgs play. Quite easy.
Yeah.
Honestly, you just named the big orgs. Some surprises, but still. Na'Vi number 1. Number 2 is FaZe with 155 maps. So, yes, they've not existed that long, but they've gone deep in a lot of majors. They've played finals. They've just got a lot of maps racked up. NIP, 148. G2, 138. Tied with Fnatic. Both of those teams have 138. Yeah. Then after that, it's some classics. Mouse, VP, Liquid, Vitality, and C9 sneaking in at number 10.
In hindsight, I should have gone for Mouse, but not. I know they're below, but in hindsight, I'm like, I forgot about them. Yeah.
All right. Player KPR. And let's try and throw with a little more tempo. Let's see if you can surely get these a little quicker. KPR.
number one, I would assume, is going to be simple.
That's 2 points.
2 points?
At Majors, simple is not the top player in KPR.
Shit. So 2 points. Okay, yeah, okay. Another throw. Zaiwu.
2 points.
Fuck! Okay, KPR.
Kills per round, the big daddy.
I'm thinking, we're not if those two are not up there, we're not talking about an Astralis player.
Obviously.
I think we're talking about a rifler.
Okay.
I think Electronic played enough shit majors to not be up there, even if it's Berlin, is very impressive. Thinking about Nico, but does Nico have like outright shit majors either? I'll take a stab at Nico. It's gonna be Nico.
1 point.
Oh shit! Fuck, this is gonna be interesting. So I got 5 points.
Yes, you're 5 points. The number one pick, it's the Terminator. It's Cold Zero, bro. 0.81 KPR. Now, it is a fraction ahead of Zaiwu, who's also 0.81, but leaderboard officially, it is Cold Zero at number one. Number two is Zaiwu. Number three is Simple at 0.8. Then it's Device 0.77. Monacy 0.77. And then Nico is where the 0.76s start with Flamey, Shiro, Automatic, and Stown. So KPR King is still Cold Zero. I mean, he has basically his decline has led to him missing majors, so he's never been a mid as fuck player at the major. He basically only played his prime majors, and then a couple like in 2018, 2019 where he was still okay.
Yeah.
He gets to save himself from being lower, essentially.
All right.
Let's go into team round win percentage. So we're back to orgs. Which teams have the highest round win percentage? Now this one's going to be interesting because there's a lot of teams that have played a lot of majors, but they've not always been successful, etc. Vice versa. Like it's a tough thing to figure out. Who'd you like?
This is tough. I think Astralis come to mind because they at the very least they dominated one major. And again, this is like they missed a bunch of majors as well. So maybe that's a blessing for them because they don't have the meandering decline, sort of like Cold Zero, where they play a bunch of majors where they just lose. No, they didn't really do that. They just kind of disappeared and didn't qualify.
Okay.
So maybe that's to their advantage. I'm also thinking Vitality in a weird way because both of their major wins, I would assume they had a very high round win percentage because they weren't really challenged in either of them.
Okay.
But then again, the Gamer Legion map was also super close. But they also have a bunch of other majors, like Berlin, where they didn't make it too hot, and they were also playing from the Challenger stage. And I think they were doing the same in Katowice. I'm going to take Astralis as my first pick.
That's 4 points. That's one of the easier ones to pick. Like Astralis have generally either been in major playoffs or won the major or not attended. Like that's the three options. Like they've had very few group stage crash outs. So yes, Astralis, that's 4 points.
FaZe have also gone 0-3. I think I'm going to discount FaZe just on account of the Rio major. It's just too many majors. I want to go for somebody who has a low percent qualifying, but actually having played well when they did. But also, is this also 43 maps, or is this a different map limit?
There's a map minimum, but also it doesn't really matter. I don't think there's. I don't think there's anyone you'll be thinking about who won't be on the map minimum will come into play. Tell me who you're thinking.
Yeah. I'm thinking. I was thinking outsiders. You know,
well,
but I also think they're around 1%. Okay, you've counted them as Virtus Pro.
I always do. They're Virtus Pro.
All right, yep. No, I was like, if you're going off the stats list exactly, then they would have been separate. I'm thinking Spirit because I think they only played one major before they before they qualified for Antwerp, and then they also played playoffs in Rio, and then they won Shanghai. I'll take Spirit.
Spirit are a success. Yes, Spirit are 2 points.
What a snipe!
They've played 71 maps at majors, and they have a 53% win rate.
Pretty good. If 53 is good enough, then I'm just gonna take Vitality just to go for it.
And that's 2 more points. Vitality 53.5%. So the other top
So
dogs
that's
are the Mongols, 53-2, Na'vi 53 flat, and then after that it's Fnatic, VP, Heroic, FaZe, and NIP.
heroic. That's good. Okay, yeah. So that's 8 points for me maximum.
Yes, it is.
Nice. I like this game.
Yeah, this is where it gets tough though. I've got one joke category which I'm going to do now, but you have to name this one quick because there's only like 10 options total basically. Map played, as in the maps picked and played at the major. You know the map pool, the maps, quack, the maps in Counter-Strike. Which are the most played? Take your darts and chuck them at the board. I'm sure you're not going to need very long to do this.
It's gonna be Mirage. It's gonna be up there.
So throw Mirage. 2 points.
Inferno is gonna be up there.
4 points.
Nice. And see, Dust 2 would be the obvious pick, but there's teams who banned Dust 2, and it was gone from the pool for a while.
Yeah.
There's a crazy one. Nuke.
2 points. There's 8 out of 8. Yes.
Yes.
So the one place I thought you might slip up, because it is pretty easy to get the top ones here, I thought you might slip up and think Ancient has been playing more than Overpass. Just because Ancient has become like a very go-to map in a BO1 Swiss sort of setting. But no, Ancient 129, Overpass 173, Train, Vertigo, Cash, Cobble down at the bottom, Inferno, Mirage, Nuke, Dust 2, and Overpass are the top 5 most played. Very good. And the final one, this is the one where I expect you to do terribly, and I think it's going to be very fun for everyone involved. Assists per round.
All right.
This is where you absolutely, if you get 4, total, I'll be impressed. I'll be genuinely impressed if you get 4 total, because there's no way.
Who are high in assists? We're talking like supportive riflers who are not dog shit. So when you play fantasy, for example, like Flamesy is always very high in assists. So that maybe that kind of player, Brawlan is also always very high. But that's more so a team thing. Maybe high performing teams who have good traits. Heroic were up high in round win rate, so I might go for a heroic player. Maybe like a Stown could be not the worst thing, but maybe he's more the trader. Give me. Why am I blanking on who was on that heroic roster? Give me Stown, just a stab in the dark.
Nope. Stown is not in the top 10 for assists per round.
Damn. Do you know what? Maybe go on the other end. I'll go for a Kerrigan.
Carrigan is not in the top 10 for assists per round.
Of course he isn't. The thing that I need to find is, I think, somebody who's like Kerrigan, but hasn't played as much, so maybe he has a higher chance of having a high variance.
I dig the strats. I dig the strat. Just a hint there.
Glaive.
Bro's played shit tons of maps. No, 3 misses. Okay. So you know what pissed me off about listening to you like talk it through, and then what you eventually actually guessed?
Yeah.
Flame Z is like number 8.
Oh, I could have just gone for him. Yeah.
Yeah, Flame Z is number 8. Or 7 or 6, something. He's at 0.18 basically. He's in the 3rd row of choices. The top pick is Lux.
Oh, dude, I never would have got that. Never
Edges
in my life.
Just into the like applicable range, but then also has a 0.25 assist per round. Like crazy. Second one you could have thought of in terms of like you're kind of at it. The strat for this is entries typically. Xertion 0.21, Bigu 0.2, Xantares 0.2, Blitz 0.19. When you thought Carrigan, you thought maybe someone who's like Carrigan with a lower variance, played less, or higher variance played less, like Blitz. That's exactly the guy. Then Cello, Flamesy, Yuri, Flusher, and Seized are the rest of the team.
Where was Nico?
I would have to check.
Okay, never mind then. If he's not, Damn, that's 0 points for me on that one. So I end on what? 24, 29?
Yeah, let me just do the maths myself as the official ref for this one. 8, 16, 21, 29 out of 40. So a decent result, to be fair. A decent result.
I'm actually pretty happy with that. Yeah.
So yeah, just out of curiosity, I'm going to look it up. Majors, all-time, assists per round. Nico is at 0.15. He's quite far off. He's a better guess than some of the other ones he went for, because Stown would be a horrendous guess at 0.12. Yes, he is the trader. I don't know if you've noticed how they play. I assume Tesses would be a much better pick. Yeah, 0.15 for Tesses. Shush, also a better pick, actually. But yeah, that's my game. We now have a Who's That bracket.
Yes.
So, Quack.
Who is that bracket?
Let's have a look at this. What's going on?
Yep. So, this is, as you might be able to tell from some of the teams present, this is an older bracket. But I'll go from top to bottom. This is an 8-team single elimination bracket. It is no weirdness about going straight through to the semis or something. And this is from a major. I can reveal this is from a major. But I'm not sure you're going to get, as always, you're guessing what event it is, who are the 2 teams I've blanked out,
Yeah.
and who is the MVP of this event for a potential 5 points. The MVP gives you 2 points.
Okay, so I know this is one of the first 5 majors, because NIP are in the grand final. The other thing I know for sure is that this is pre Fnatic signing Crimson Olofmeister, because LGB are in the semi-final. The question is, which one was it when that actually happened? Because I think it might be the last time they played together prior to being signed over from LGB. The team that ended up winning the major 2-0 over NIP, let me think. Probably it's a 2-0 win. I think that's got to be Virtus Pro. You shall think.
Right, so while you're thinking, to go through it from top to bottom, the first quarterfinal is NIP over Complexity 2-1. The second one is Dignitas over Hellraisers 2-0. Third one is Blank over LDLC 2-0. And then the fourth one is LGB over Blank 2-1. And then the semifinal, NIP go through 2-0 to the final, and Blank go through over LGB with 2-1, and eventually win the final against NIP with 2-0.
So yeah, so when Fnatic beat NIP in DreamHack Winter, that was a 2-1. So it's not that game. It ends in an absolute clusterfuck of a train, I think, 13-3.
Yeah.
Completely dicked them. So it's not that one. So that eliminates Fnatic pretty much entirely for me. Because LGB would not be present after NIP win the major. So the second major is the one not LDLC win. The second one is the one Virtus Pro win. Which is why I think this is Virtus Pro. So the major MVP at Katowice 2014 is Pasha. He does have a lot of help from Bjarli and Snacks, but it is Pasha who gets the MVP. They're the ones who beat LGB. They're the ones who beat LDLC, who at the time were not quite... LDLC go through a massive rehaul after this loss. They're a completely different side the next time you see them. And, well, next time you see them, also eventually when they win the major, they're a completely different side. So I think that's the Virtus Pro win. And LGB 2-1 someone in the quarterfinal. Got a feeling it's Fnatic. I feel like Fnatic didn't miss major playoffs in the second major. They just lost to LGB in surprising fashion, and in classic Swedish sense, then signed the best players from that team who'd just beaten them, because they're the bigger org. So those are my guesses. This is EMS1 Katowice 2014. Pasha Biceps is the MVP. Virtus Pro at the top of the 2. Blanks, and the other one is Fnatic.
Bullseye, 5 points. Excellent.
Nice.
Well done. I was trying to trip you up with LGB being there, that you might not actually know the result of the final.
I know my fucking history, man. I know my fucking history.
Yeah.
There's not that many options for LGB playoff appearances in the major.
No, there's 2. So that's why I was like, maybe you're gonna go for DreamHack. But yeah, no, this is true.
Yeah, I also know how the game went. That first, the DreamHack Winter one, I know how it went. For historical context, that complexity side is kind of interesting. It's like Hiko, there's also Swag on that team. It's prior to the iBuyPower roster, you'll know, I think. I think it's still that one, unless it's the other way and it's I think it's nothing on that team as well. Like, it's kind of a crazy team.
Yeah.
For NA standards, right? That Dignitas is Fetish, Device, all those guys. It's
actually for the complexity side,
Astralis. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
There's an insane player on this complexity side which you didn't mention.
What, Scar?
Swag.
I said Swag.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Hiko, Sean Garris, Semphis, Nothing, and Swag. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Semphis is AWPing this team, isn't he? Like,
it probably
Swag's
was
doing it. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, and then
Hellraiser's roster is also pretty crazy.
The Hellraiser's roster was Astana Dragons at the start of Go and was supposed to be the major, like, CIS super team, and then was good, but like never lived up to it in any way. Like, they never reached the heights. Like, they were supposed to be sensational. Instead, they were fine. They were meant to be the next, like, the Na'Vi before Na'Vi were Na'Vi, and instead they were Maus at best this year. Like, this year's Maus, kind of, at best. So yeah, no, a really interesting bracket, and in much the same way, we do have more games, and this time it's a grades game. I have picked a team, for a major winning team, specifically, from history. You let me know who you think this is. I've removed flags because in terms of the number of teams we're picking from, there's too few. Like, flags give away too much. So I've removed that, but you can get the all-time grades if you want them. You can get the core age, although that's not going to be very helpful because I'm not doing the math. I'm going to tell you how old they are now. Actually, maybe almost too helpful. I'll do it at the time. Never mind. I'll do it how old they were at the time because that would otherwise be too helpful. If I told you they were all 36, you'd be like, well, they cannot be one of the most recent major winners, can they? So I'll tell you the age at the time. Never mind. Just going to improvise, but free will. But if you're looking at the stream, Quack, you can see the grades given. IGL, B+, AWPA, B+, Entry B, Closer A, Support C. Roles are best fit. They're not necessarily direct, but I think they're fine for this one. I'm not going to cry about it. Take a look.
This is a major winning roster. Yes,
it is indeed.
Is this are the grades at the time, or is it right now, or is it all time?
It's at the time.
At the time.
In terms of how they played at the major, it's about how they played the major, who they were around the time of the major, in terms of their quality as players.
Okay.
Like, generally, it's from that time.
So in that sense, I can kind of disqualify Astralis because I think even at the time, even if it's the first Astralis major, I don't think you would have put Glaive as a B+. I think you would have put him better than that. I think the entry spot as well is kind of tripping me up there because I would actually, that might be Dupree now that I'm thinking about it. When you're saying best fit, traditionally I think of Kierby as an entry kind of player, but if he's the closer, then he might work as an A since he was the MVP. But Sipnix wouldn't be a C in any of the Astralis winning majors. So I'll just disqualify Astralis outright for now. Let's try to think more recent. Could it be Vitality in Paris? No, I think I don't know if you've ever used an S. Can I say?
Sorry. What's that?
Can I say? Have you ever used an S grade for anybody here in this game?
I don't think so. I think I avoid using S's specifically.
So it doesn't exist. Can I say that?
I would say S doesn't exist.
S doesn't exist. Okay, so an A+ could in theory be a Zaiwu or a Simple if it's like a Paris run or maybe even the Austin run. But I think for both of those, I think you. Okay, hang on. No. There's no way. Who was a support player for Vitality in Paris?
Magisk?
Dupree, I guess. Magisk? No way, Magisk was a C in Paris. No. Okay, no. Outsiders, Opera IGL would be the same. I don't know how you would have done that. I'm disqualifying that. Kerrigan wouldn't be a B+. I'm just taking off the majors. Could this be Ancient? Fnatic? The original Fnatic. So that would be JW and Blusha for Opera and Closer, I guess. Wow, this is actually hard. NIP is kind of the same. If you said best fit is the thing, but you wouldn't have an A+ offer from any of the NIP major winnings.
The one NIP major win, you mean?
Yeah, but any of the
Any of them.
players, none,
Come on.
any of the players on that team. I mean, none of them would be A plus in opping. Fifi might be B plus in IGLing now, to be honest. give me their all times. I think that's gonna help me the most here.
All right, all-time grades. IGL. It's one of those ones where, depending on your philosophy of the world, changes how you see it in terms of where they should go, especially in terms of how their career works out. But I'm going to give the IGL, just in terms of how they're respected and remembered, an A. Like how we think about them, an A all time. The AWPer, I think an A all time as well. The entry, probably more of a C minus. The closer, an A seems fine. And support, D maybe.
Wow, support D. Okay. So in my mind, when you started saying that, in my mind I had Cloud9, and I was thinking, well, yeah, Tarek might be an A. He might be remembered as an A, all things considered. He was never an A IGL, but he might have been an A player, and he was the caller there. I think that's and then for the AWPer, yeah, Skedoodle could be an A career AWPer. And then I'm iffy on the roles, where I'm kind of like, who's who here? Rush would probably be the support player. But Rush career-wise has to be better than a D, surely. Who else was even on that team? Automatic and Stewie. Maybe Stewie is a support player. He's also better than a D. No, it can't be Cloud9. Cannot be Cloud9. Wow, and I don't think it's either of the Brazilian teams, because I don't know how you would have dealt with IGL and AWPer being the same player. Oh, I don't know anything about Envious. Would Kenny be an A flat, or would he be an A plus career wise? Support player D. What if I support player D? Who would have been support? Happy maybe. Would he have been? Wait, actually no. Yeah, Apex wouldn't have been calling there.
No, it's a Happy IGL when Envious win the major.
Happy's not an A. Happy's not. He just isn't an A.
He's also IGL when they win the major as LDLC. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but Happy is not a career A, especially not if he's a B plus when winning the major. He's definitely not an A career. So it's neither of. Wow, I'm actually running out of options here. Virtus Pro. I couldn't name a single role player on Virtus Pro. To me, it's an. I guess Snacks would be the closer. Bialy could be a D all time, maybe. Or Taz, rather. Taz probably would have been, yeah. Fuck! This is tricky. I'll do Virtus Pro. I think you might put Neo, if he was calling at that time, which I think he might have been, you might have put him as an A all time. And you might have thought he was pretty bad in the major. But then again, who was opping them? Was it Snacks or was it Pasha?
It's Pasha.
Pasha. You gave him an A career-wise, though. Oh, but he retired pretty early as well. Yeah, give me I'm gonna say Virtus Pro. I think we might have picked the same major.
Okay, we're leaving the core age untouched.
I don't think it's gonna help me. Actually, no. Okay, you know what? Just for the sake of it, give me the core age.
Okay, so I've done some rough maths in my head in terms of what their ages would have been or could have been. I don't really know exactly what they were, but it's roughly 20 and a half.
20 and a half, so it's a pretty young team.
Yeah.
I think Taz was pretty old even at the time when they were winning. But Snacks was also pretty young, so it kind of displaces it. And then I think Bialy would have been maybe a bit older than 20. Pasha would have definitely been older than 20. Now I don't think he's Virtus Pro anymore. Who won in 2016? Gambit, maybe. Ooh, Gambit. Is Moen a career A? And who would be the support? Maybe Adren? Adren. You might think Adren is a D. You honestly might think that. This is so hard. This is actually so hard. It's a support player D, which is tripping me up. I still think Virtus Pro might be my best guess, or maybe it's the first winner. Maybe it's Fnatic, but because then who would it be? Snyder or Devilwalk? You might think Devilwalk is a D. You honestly might think Devilwalk is a D. Then you would give JW an A. And what was Devilwalk calling at the time?
As far as I'm aware, the caller of the first Fnatic team would have been Bronex.
Oh yeah, Pronex was there, of course, yeah. But do you think he got better? I guess he did get better when the other era. I'm gonna lock in the first Fnatic major winning, and if it's Virtus Pro, I'm gonna be kicking myself.
Okay. Correct. It is Fnatic from the first major win.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have the old logos, so this is the new logo. But yeah, ignore that. The old logo was better.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, the old Fnatic. So yeah, look, Schneider at the time, when you actually look back on the games he played in that major run, he played pretty well. Like, pretty well. But all time, obviously, yeah, he's not. And so, especially just in the months leading up to it, surrounding months, he's not that crazy, and then his career isn't exactly long and prolific. And then, yeah, Devilwalk as a support player was ass, but is an impressive career as a coach of Fnatic, and then also as a coach of other teams, a desk presence. Like, he's a great CS career, but as a player, no, he wasn't particularly good on Fnatic. So yeah, I think these are pretty fair ratings across the board. Like, yes, you can have a higher grade on Pronax all time just because he then goes on to win back-to-back majors. This Fnatic team, it's not quite fluky, but this is like their best result ever. Like, it's a one-off run. Generally, they're not that good. Plus, the Swedish IGL, what does he even do? Like, yeah, guys, default. Then we'll mid-round. Like, bro, you're not really much of an IGL. All fun and games, but yeah. Then Flusher, a major legend. He had a fantastic run. JW was the carry of the team. Takes like 30% of their openings on an AWP and wins them the major. Like, he goes ballistic. So he deserves that A+. And then, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's I think, all fair grades. But no, if I'd have given you a flag of Sweden, like, I guess it wouldn't have been that helpful. It would have just told you it's one of the 3 Swedish rosters that won a major. But it would have narrowed it down so much. Like, we're talking 3 total teams to pick from. When we started with 16, like, it's not exactly a crazy amount.
Yeah, I think I went through all of the major winners at some point in my head, not just the ones I articulated. But Virtus Pro kind of did fit the bill. Pasha was opping, he was the MVP. I don't think you would have put Pasha as an A career-wise, because he did have like a pretty long meandering fall-off.
He fell off, but he retired earliest. So I think A for Pasha career could have been reasonable.
Yeah.
But no, look, Bialy was too good to be a B at that event.
Yeah.
You can make a case for Snacks. I think Snacks A actually would have been fair, but then who even was the IGL? Who was the support between Taz and Neo? Whoever fucking knows. It always switched between the two of them. And
yeah,
I believe actually Taz was pretty good at this major. So if he was my support, if I had to put him in one of the two, he probably would have got better than a C. Like,
probably.
He actually plays surprisingly well in that run. So yeah, those are the grades. Let's now move on to, now that everyone is left to go watch the BO1s for the major, the Eternal Shuffle. We're going to skip CCT Europe. Screw it. I need a piss and I'm hungry. Let's get into this this Eternal Shuffle. It's always going. It's always twirling. People are moving. Quack, give me some teams. Give me some changes. I'll give it some grades. What's up?
I accidentally wrote Ens retires, which that would have been nice the way the roster is going.
All
Glaive retires.
Gone.
Glaive has retired and he's going into coaching. Now, okay.
A++. Finally, Unk is gone.
He's not even that Unk is the weird thing. He's one of the younger.
He's decrepit.
He's one of the younger. He is 30, bro. But
he's
one of the younger guys from that
He's
Astralis
ancient.
team. He was never able to replicate his Astralis success without Zonic holding his hand. Which is what I will remember Glaive for. But where do you? I don't want you to grade Glaive's decision or his career as a whole. Where do you want Glaive to be coaching in 2026?
Look, in much the same way that I think everyone who is a kid should play in academies, I think everyone who wants to be a coach should start coaching a bad team. Or a weak team, or a young team, or something. I don't want him to tomorrow be coaching Astralis. That'd be stupid. So, look, there's a number of younger Danish rosters that he could go to. He could go to Arb. He could go to Ecstatic. There's like an assistant coach as well. Like, assistant coaching is always an option. He could go to a number of different places. My pick, Let me see. I'm going to look at the Danish rankings and see who's in most need of a coach right now. I mean, assistant coaching behind Hunden would be interesting.
Ecstatic don't have a coach.
He could go coach Ecstatic, but at the same time, it's a bit much. I would like him as an assistant coach behind Hunden. That's where he learned to IGL. Why not learn to coach there too?
Fair. He did say in an interview today that he was not open to assistant coach offers. He wants head coach or nothing.
Then he can go coach Trick for all I give a fuck.
Yeah. Do you know what I think the tricky part for Glaive is? I think he might end up in sort of the same area as a lot of people who end up making this move. People such as Freiberg. Do you remember Freiberg actually went out and said, "Oh, I'm open to coach offers," and he's reiterated it multiple times. And I can only assume, actually tenured IGL, pretty well respected guy with solid desk analysis for the people who listen to when he does desk segment. He's broadcasting the major right now in Swedish. He could coach. He could be a good coach. I think he falls into the same issue, which I think Glaive might fall into, which is he needs like his level, his tenure, his level of respect requires a pretty decent team who can pay him enough to live on. But he's not going to get one of that. He's not going to get one of those. Those offers just aren't coming, unfortunately. But I have the perfect candidate team for Glaive to coach if he wants to fix a bad team and start his career. Go coach Big.
Big, okay.
Do what Zonic did to Glaive and turn Freeze into a 4-time major winning IGL with Grix by his side.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. No, honestly, yeah, fuck it. Like, Big change coaches about as often as Virtus Pro do, and it doesn't really make sense whoever the hell they're putting in and out. Like, it's between Zen, Skrunk, back to Zen now. Before that, they had on KJ for a while. They've had Gob B about a quadrillion times. Kakafu, in and out. Toby was here, wasn't here. Dude was assisting, was not assisting, etc., etc. Just put Glaive in here. Give him a 3-year contract, promise not to bench him, and see what happens.
Okay.
Yep. Here's another move. One for you to actually grade. The 5th piece of OG is reported to be Flamus on loan from Virtus Pro with a buy option.
Yeah, so this is by itself, pretty dope move. Like, OG, a new home for Flamus, a new chance to show us, the good side of Flamus. But unfortunately, there's a weird detail here where if you sign him, you can't now sign a core of riflers. Like, assuming the Nikodos thing is true, assuming you still have Rain coming in as your IGL. If you also then have Flamus, it means you're picking up 2 of 3 from a team, which would mean you're doing the grind. You're doing the snappy grind. I don't know. In that case, it makes it a bit more of like a B.
Yep.
But if you are somehow not getting Nikodos and you're getting a different, like a whole core, maybe you're getting a core that's valid through Nikodos as well, playing with them somehow, then I'll give you an A.
Yep. I think an A is fair here. It's a decent move. I would have preferred Susp, which was also rumored, but Flamus is not the worst option. Do you see potential for role clashes between him, Spook, and Adam B?
Yes. But no, I don't see a solution. No, I don't want that.
I don't want potential for death ball. Potential for a death ball.
Yeah, there is, but like, you have to play both halves, and like, even in a death ball, there's priorities, right? In the envious death ball, it was Apex first. Apex is the guy. Then we have Kyoshima and NBK kind of there. Like, they are lower priority in terms of your rifling group. So yes, I like it, but I don't think it's possible. I don't see a clear solution. And yes, the best ones have started, and MAT are crushing bait right now. Fucking what a call.
Yep. Next move. Wildcard have benched their whole roster. Everybody except for Peeping is transfer listed. And they are supposedly rebuilding, so that suggests to me that Peeping is going to be part of that new roster. Something NA. But the rest of Wildcard, like Stanislav, Fuzi, Fiku, and J-Bot are now available, and they want to sell them.
For the scene, this is an A+.
Yep.
For Wildcard, it's also a B. They finally agreed to just stop. So thank the Lord.
Yep. Thank the Lord. They are goners. 9Z, as we predicted last week. I read a report. Mayern and Luchov have joined. So 9Z are now complete, and they have an Argentinian core, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
It's cool. I think I said it last week. I think it was a pretty cool move, bringing in Mayern, giving him a chance as an AWPer on a bigger team. He's put up good numbers. Luchov as well, pretty good performer in the domestic play. The players they're replacing were bad, so nothing to lose here. Give him an A.
Yeah. Solid move, I think. AAA is back against All Authority, where Zaiwu got his start, is what I know it as, but you know it as an old and storied French tag. Their team is, I'm gonna say it, kind of worthless.
Who?
Who? Yeah. You will not be seeing AAA. Do you know what? I would say that you are never gonna see AAA ever have a VRS rank with this roster. But the tag is back, and it genuinely seems that it's something that what's his name? Striker.
Yeah.
He's kind of doing it. There's every chance that, he could, start with this team and then gradually Ship of Theseus it into an actually decent team. So, what do I know?
Who knows? Yeah. No, I guess it's a brand, but it's not really something I expect to do very much with these players specifically. If you can pick up Gen 1's team at some point, if you've got the kind of investment, then sure, but otherwise, not a big deal.
Yep. All-inners have added Kadeo, and I think somebody said that immediately afterwards they looked decent. So all-inners now are Buster, Kadeo, Kumao, Demente, and Noni.
Yeah, look, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I think Kadeo's a decent player, and I thought he should have been a part of O2 going forward. Ending up on all Linners with Dementor, yeah, why not? It's not a fantastic roster. There's still a good amount of controversy brewing in that scene recently with what's going on. But I don't mind it.
Yep. And finally, following yesterday's kind of weird move of benching their IGL for seemingly no reason, AAB, or AUB, as they are officially called, have also cut Queenix, and they have added... Well, they've added Becker, who I think we both like, but they've also added Mol011. Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck that is. Yeah, look, Becker's a cool move. An interesting little player. Hell, Mololoi or Mololo is...
Moloi.
Yeah, I can't say much about that, but hey, B-.
Do you know my dumb ass? When I first read that name, I was like, "Oh, he must be born in 2011 because that's like a male 09. He has 09 because he's born in 09." And I was like, "Oh, this guy's born in 011." That's my dumb ass first thought. Yeah, he was born in. Technically, 011 is not incorrect. That's how you write to. That's the last 3 digits of 2011. But yeah, no, he's not even. He's 19. He has over 100 maps on teams like Prestige and Prezi Mix and etc. Yeah, I don't look at this guy, and I'm not particularly excited about his future as a Danish youngster. But hey.
Okay. No, I don't really get it, but that's fine. Just to address B-Trams, Siren on Orbit to Paravision for AW is eventually an option I guess you could explore. Yes, I don't think it's a terrible idea. For now, I wouldn't obviously bother, but yeah, not the worst idea. That's the moves though, isn't it? That's the eternal shuffle.
That is our moves.
Yeah. We now wrap up the show as we always do with prospects of the week. I'm gonna go first because I have a player that I'm surprised by, but happy to say is playing well. Zelex. We'd seen a little bit of Zelex playing in like pretty high level play, and it didn't go very well. Like his little stand-in period went horribly, not just because they got smashed in Mouse, but also because he was just poor as well. Like his POV did not look good. Recently, playing with Mouse NXT and playing in like CCT, playing in some other qualifiers like European Pro League, the Nodwin Clutch Series, close quality, all that sort of stuff, against legit tier 2 and tier 3 teams. Like not too many super big dogs, but some alright teams who've actually been putting up decent runs. He fucking smashed them. And his last 3 months, he's a 120 rating. This sort of period is a 126, I think, over the last week. He's been huge. So shout out Zelex, Hungary zone. Might see him at the major. Yeah, great start.
Great start, yeah. I think we've seen him before.
Yeah, he was a 16-year-old standing in way too big of an event. It just didn't go well.
It didn't go well. I honestly thought it could have gone worse. I think I've said so before. I think it could have gone worse. And
he could have picked up the mouse and dropped dead. But aside from that, like,
as a lot of players often do. But he still had that one map, which I think was good. That's more than you can say for a lot of 16-year-olds who get thrown into Katowice, as happens as a rite of passage in in Russia, I assume.
Yes, that is the deep end of the Counter-Strike pool. You just get picked up and chucked into the Katowice crowd. Like,
yeah, you see,
swim.
it happens so much where they don't even show it. Like ESL don't even show those games. But in every Katowice, there is a Polish teenager who has to play 1v5 against Vitality. It happens every year. But yeah, no. Yeah, Mouse NXT, have they done it again? So far, it looks like yes.
Yeah, this roster playing pretty well in the last sort of week or two.
Yep. Somebody else who's been playing pretty well the past week or two is Bob XD. They win another trophy once again over Boomage, and once again in pretty insane fashion. We didn't talk about it, but I don't have a lot to say about the event as a whole. I mostly watched the end of the final. They like on Dust 2, the final map, Eyeballers are down 2-12. They bring it to overtime and win 16-13. And if there's one guy you can thank for that, it is Bob XD, who with an 8-2 opening KD on that final map, 30 kills in like total 114 ADR, plus 7.5% round swing. This guy is insane. He's on the edge of what you consider a prospect. I think 22 is still the limit, and that's fine. Bob XD is real. Like, we are eating so good in Sweden right now because we have Boy, we have Bob XD, we have all of these players to be excited about. And honestly, Eyeballers, I talked before about like how Foot are approaching that like some tier 1 invites at the start of next year. Eyeballers are dangerously close to a Krakow invite. I don't know if they have anything else left to play before January 5th, if they can actually make it, but if they win their next event as well, there's a non-zero chance we have Eyeballers going to IEM Krakow and Bob XD and Maxter and Dex going there. And holy shit, I'd be excited about that. It's so I could look. Bob XD is he's just the real deal, man. He is absolutely 1000% the real deal, as is Poi, and that's why I'm so excited about Swedish Counter-Strike right now, and that's why we are gonna have such a good year in 2026, hopefully, unless we fumble it somehow. But
probably will in some way.
We probably will, yeah.
But look, yeah, the rifle talent's there in Sweden. Bob XD, yeah, he's a bit old 100%. For my sort of category of what I consider a prospect, but hell, he's still slumming it in tier 2, and he's still Swedish, so why not?
Leonardo Kingt DiCaprio.
Exactly. Prospect for life is how you kind of work with Swedes. So, always some hope left in your tank. I just need to see him on the right team. Like, I need to see the right Swedish team come together, and then we'll see Bob XD hopefully take that leap, move on into legit stardom and not just, farmdom as he currently is. But yeah, those are the prospects. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to all of you who stuck around this long whilst the BO1s are happening right now as we see Bait slowly climbing back into the M80 game and Rare Atom doing the same.
I have heard the stream has insane tech issues, so I think genuinely our stream is to be preferred over all the major streams because everything is like the entire pre-show desk segment was just muted with music over it. I think so. I
heard, yeah. Some people asked us to do the commentary ourselves. Obviously, we couldn't do that, but look, yeah. Thank you for those of you who stuck around. Let's go watch the major, and hopefully, all of our pick'ems hit somehow at the same time. All right. See you later.